Hello, 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 and welcome once again to Movies That Pop. I'm the Kernel. Let's see what popped up in theaters this week. Those uncanny X-Men return to theaters for one of the weakest entries in the series, X-Men Apocalypse. In a mind-boggling development, the X-Men movie with arguably the thinnest story of any installment turns out to be the installment with the longest running time. Now, how did that happen? Cheap, inconsequential, and ultimately empty of any real drama, this chapter contains a few elements that are fun, but not nearly enough to justify the time and money and patience you'd have to expend to see this extravaganza. This X-Men movie is more excruciating than exciting. That's it for the capsule review. Let's get in depth. I'll start with what's good about the movie. The performances of James McAvoy and Michael Fassbender as Professor X and Magneto, specifically. After that, wow, that didn't take very long. Oh, and there are two scenes in particular, two fun little action beats that I will not spoil for you, that were genuinely fun to watch. Oh, and the special effects sequences and the over-the-top climax are, convincing, I guess.
Everything they've built will fall, and from the ashes of their world, we'll build a better one!
But they're also derivative of so many world-destroying films that have come before recently. We've seen all of this stuff in other movies for years now, and usually the world is being destroyed by characters who are far more compelling than the character of Apocalypse. Characters like, Godzilla, for example. Heck, if your movie has one villain, and he's so prominent that his name literally is the subtitle of the movie, he really should be more interesting than this guy. His face is always expressionless, covered by some really bad makeup, and he always speaks in this hushed tone, like he's reading from the Dead Sea Scrolls. But his dialogue is all this manufactured grandeur, which can best be summed up as, "I know I look like a giant overweight smurf, but I'm actually kind of a big deal. No, I can't give you any new superpowers, but if you've already got bird wings coming out of your back, I guess I can give you some super sweet metal wings. You'll also be able to shoot these razor-sharp feathers at people now. Now follow me. Our club has seriously the best parties." This Apocalypse spends a lot of screen time going around the world and recruiting followers, finding mutants and sort of leveling them up like they're in a video game. According to some lazy exposition we're given in the middle of the film, he always has 4 mutants with him. No more, no less. Just 4. So after he recruits his 4 people, including Magneto and a very young Storm, and he's boosted up their powers, he meets and battles our main heroes, and I'm sure at some point he was like, "Boy, I wish I hadn't chosen my 4 mutants so hastily. I don't think I'd have wasted all my Dungeons & Dragons experience points on the hot chick with a lightsaber if I knew about Jean Grey." The first part of this film is actually pretty boring. Why a movie this deep into a franchise, even a recently rebooted one, feels the need to reintroduce characters we've already met, like Scott Summers, aka Cyclops, in long passages I just don't understand. I also don't understand why Mystique has to suddenly be the linchpin for every plot line in these movies simply because she's played by Jennifer Lawrence, and with Hugh Jackman largely absent, she is arguably the film's biggest star. I don't get why Quicksilver's parentage is just sort of tossed off in a random bit of dialogue.
I'm not afraid of him. Magneto, he's my father.
What?
Him and my mom, they did.
No, I know.
Then it's largely ignored until it's absolutely necessary, and even then doesn't pay off very strongly. And I also don't get why the battle on which the future of the planet itself hinges is settled by characters inexplicably just sort of screaming at each other while CG fireworks blast all around them in bright colors. That battle, by the way, feels very small despite the global stakes because most of the good guys are squaring off against paper-thin characters, Psylocke, Archangel, and this version of Storm that we just don't know very well or care about. This despite the fact that the movie spent almost the first hour watching each of them get recruited one by Apocalypse. The mind reels. Where did that time go? That introductory period, almost half of the movie before anything remotely interesting happens, also includes Magneto going through a whole supervillain tragic origin story that just rings hollow in the face of the fact that he's already gotten one in previous movies. That's right, movies, plural. Oh, and while we're speaking about things that have already occurred in multiple movies, guys, stop trying to make Colonel Stryker happen, alright? He's just not a compelling villain. I find him an absolute bore, and yet he just keeps showing up. This is his 4th X-Men movie appearance, people. This guy is no Loki, alright? He's no Lex Luthor or the Joker. Knock it off. Every time I hear his name, I just think of the guy from Airplane. Anyway, Stryker shows up to cause a little bit of trouble for our main characters, but ultimately, he's not too crucial to the plot, and basically serves to facilitate one of the movie's most fun scenes, so I can't really be mad. I just don't want to see him again, alright? And look, I don't just want to sit here and pick this movie apart. Unlike, say, Batman vs. Superman, there's nothing here that is all that offensive to me per se, nothing that made me angry or got my ire up. It's no X-Men The Last Stand. It's just uninspired, kind of, meh. I don't care all that much. Small bag of popcorn for this 2.5-hour movie that you will mostly have forgotten during the 5 minutes it takes you to walk to your car. That does it for this edition of Movies That Pop. Don't forget to follow me, the Kernel, on Twitter @moviesthatpop, and click the icon right down there to visit our channel. You'll be able to view all of our other videos, and more importantly, while you're there, click subscribe so you can always keep up with all the latest episodes, and so we can keep doing what we do. Please leave your comments below and click the thumbs up if you like what you heard. In the meantime, thanks for watching. I'm the Kernel, and from the ashes of this movie, hopefully they'll build a better one.